Hey guys, it's your girl Nikki. I'm beyond excited to be celebrating Transgender Awareness Week with you all. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, an incredible African American model, fashion designer, and transgender rights advocate, Midori Monét, the newly crowned Miss International Queen USA 2025. Congratulations, Midori Monét. How you feeling?
Hi, sister. I feel so amazing. Honestly, I'm so happy and honored to be here again. I was just thinking ago, it feels like just the other day we were talking and I was in Vancouver, Canada, celebrating my first win for Miss International Queen USA. And now I'm back in the States and I brought home the crown of Miss International Queen, which for those who don't know, Miss International Queen is basically Miss Universe, except this pageant is made for trans women. It has existed since 2024. And within that time period of 2024 till now, USA has only won the overall title of the universe three times. You have Miss Mimi Marks, Miss Giselle Baby Royale, and now myself.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations. That's a major, major, huge accomplishment. So congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
And let me just tell you, you looked it beautiful and you won that crown so gracefully. For real. You
Oh,
did your thing. Yes.
thank you, sister.
You welcome, sister. Now, sister, I want to get to some tea, okay? We gotta dive right into it. Cause I was
Let's talk.
online and we did the exclusive here at Gay Magazine. So you know I gotta ask. So there were some claims that you bullied Miss Cuba, Olivia Lauren during the pageant. Did that
Yeah.
actually happen?
The cheesy next to me have made it impossible for me to enjoy 100% of it. They have made this pageant very, very sour for me. They have tortured me throughout the whole thing, as well as my other sisters making fun of us each and every single day.
I think the audience said it for itself. Throughout this competition, to say the least, I've been bullied. I have been told that I look like a man. I have been pushed. I have been thrown rocks at. And, well, it's a bit of a shock to see what's happened.
The crazy thing about bullying, I try not to talk about it too much. We're here as girlfriends. Let's have a little chit
Yes.
chat. Usually, when you ever watch movies or whenever you see in the world where there is a concept of bullying, isn't the bully usually the one that hangs out in the big group?
Right, exactly, always.
I was never in a big group.
Oh my goodness. Yes, and we saw that in the clips, like in the clips that I seen, once you were crowned, everybody ran to the other side of the stage. I was so hurt. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, you know?
Shanghai Provincial Office of Tourism and Sports, Ministry of Tourism and Sports, MC of the F District, Kosi Pachiya Amati, Thai Air Asia, Minor Tourism and Sports.
They're jumping for the second runner up, and the winner is all by herself.
And the craziest thing about it is when that was happening, I had no clue. I did not
Mhm.
find out that that happened until the next day. The morning of, I woke up and I checked my phone and I'm like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
I was so in my own world. So like I didn't know that was happening. But what I love about that experience is that it brought together the voices of Black women from across the universe
Yes.
and across the world. And I use that statement to mean exactly what I mean. I mean Black women, not just trans women, but Black women as a whole, Black femmes, all of us, because there's a collective experience of, you know, feeling like no matter how deserving, no matter how much you work for it, no matter how much effort you put into
Yes.
stuff, sometimes it can be overshadowed or it can be pushed to the side because,
Yes.
and if I had the answer, I would love to share, but
Right.
what matters most is that that moment was so relatable, and
It was.
as much as I could be upset that that moment happened, that moment made me go viral, and it created an opportunity for an audience to connect with me on a very deep level from around the world. I now have fans reaching from all over Africa, reaching from Germany, reaching to Asia,
Yes.
and it's such a blessing to just see the impact of, you know, just that sense of connection.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And that's what I love the most. When that happened, everyone around the world supported you and lifted you up. And, it's no fun being bullied. Not at all. That's not a good feeling. And I thought we all experienced that at some point in time in our lives. And I wanted to ask you, in that situation, of being bullied, is there like an official way to speak up and use your voice in a pageant if you feel like that you're being bullied? Is it like an official way to get your voice out there?
Well, of course. Oh, so from inside tea about Miss International Queen, it is a 2-week long pageant. In some pageants, you have the first day, you have the final day, that's it. No. For Miss International Queen, that pageant starts the moment that you
Wow.
the moment you land, you're being watched. You're being judged, being seen on how you walk around, how you hold yourself, and most importantly, how you treat other people. I think that's really important. And when we all are there as a group, we have this thing called nannies. And the nannies of Miss International Queen, sponsored by Miss Tiffany Show, they are the ones who are watching 24/7. Every hour of the day that we're out in Thailand doing an activity, there's a group of nannies watching us, waiting for our every need. If it's I need some water, if my feet hurt, if it's I just need some, I need to use the bathroom or something, there's a nanny there.
I didn't know
Watch.
that.
So there was
Pressure.
never
That is pressure.
one particular moment where girls were not supervised. So I think
Whoa.
that there would be a reality bullying or that. It would that would have been a
Yeah,
report that would have been seen. And
exactly.
that just quite frankly was not the reality what we experienced.
Understood. That is a lot of pressure right there. Cause I know being watched like 24/7, that's a lot.
But to me, as a young aspiring actress in the world, I knew that there was gonna be eyes on me. So I
Mhm.
was like, "We just gotta make sure that the only thing I can do at this point, if it's not evening gown, swimwear, or preliminary or talent night, all I can do is just be nice." I
That's
think
all
that's
you
what matters
can.
most, that everyone around me is being treated in the way that I want it. And
Yes.
I think it's really important that to, my sense of morality. And I think going into it, I wasn't scared or nervous about making friends, but I'll be honest, I
Uh-huh.
don't think number one priority. However, I knew that we're trans women from across the world. And a lot of these women don't have the experience to really express themselves as trans women or trans individuals back where they come. For
Yes.
some of these girls, the consequence of being trans is even like risk of death or jail.
Mhm.
So, girl, we all just came here to have a time. And that's not even including the fact that we're in Thailand. This is
Yes.
the girl's first time leaving their country. No one is worried about anything other than having a good time and experiencing the
Exactly.
culture that is the land of smiles.
Yes. And that's what I love about you, Midori. Like you bring yourself authentically to the table and you bringing that joy with smile and being positive in love. Okay. Yeah. And that's what I love
Yeah.
about you.
Oh, thank you. And that was my platform going to Miss International. My platform is all about mental health, specifically love, which is kind of funny to have the idea or this demonization of me being a bully when I have used my platform nonstop to promote self-care, to promote love.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. But one thing that I did learn is that you never in this life need to explain who you are. If you know who you are and you're assured of what that means to you, if I say that I am happy to be here, you can't tell me that I'm sad today. You cannot tell me that I didn't want to be here. I made up my mind. I'm happy to be here, that I'm happy to be here. And there's nothing else that needs to be explained. And I hope that the way that I responded to everything could hopefully teach, younger me that lesson that there will be people that will try to talk about you. There will be people that will try to make things about you.
Mm.
But you know who you and if you know who you are, why does it matter? you know?
Exactly. Exactly. It's about knowing who you are and you're in that space for a reason, you know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I know we talked about bullying and how once you took the crown, how everyone went across the stage to the other side. So there was a lot of controversy during the Miss International Queen competition about how the contestants responded to you when you won. How did you handle that? And how does it show of trans women of color are seen in these spaces?
I think the reality, you know, keeping in mind, I was not aware that that happened until after the fact. I think one thing that remains true for me, myself, I know that I'm really good when it comes to competition. When it comes to competing myself out there to like my talents to the world or a panel of judges, no doubt about it. If anything, I say I'm a rather fierce contestant. But because I know that I don't want to go into the pageant with that. So it meant the world to me to try low. I'm here to laugh and joke and compete with the girls as much as I can. Uh, but I think there's eventually a moment in the pageant where the tides turn, and I go from not really being noticed as a front runner to, oh, she's the one to look out for. And I don't think that the energy that shifted around me was one in negativity. I think that it was just the view changed, to go from the girl that no one really saw in that light to being the girl that's just like, okay, she's one to watch, she's one to watch. And I think to me, that was the only energy shift that I noticed from the girls. Other than that, I enjoyed my time. And I am blessed and honored to say that I had the opportunity to make new friends. I had the opportunity to understand where these girls are coming from. As I said, there's 23 of us total, and all of us come from different ways of life. And to me, in my head, I'm so used to competing in America where I know my Americans and I know the American perspective of trans women. So it was so groundbreaking for me to discover, what it's like for these other women in the world, what transitioning means to them, how does their society treat them. And that's why I'm so honored and blessed to have that experience in Thailand where being trans doesn't mean anything. You're just trans. And it isn't it's like, here, it's a spectacle. If you're trans, it's a show, it's a moment. It's, oh my God, look at that trans person. If you're not fortunate enough to pass. And in Thailand, whether you pass, whether you don't pass, whether you're just you, girl, okay, it's a doll. Let's move on. What are we eating? Where are we going? And I think that was something so incredible because to be in a world where a trans identity is nothing more than just how you show up in the world. And I just think it's so incredible. And I honestly hope that the rest of the world can catch up to the idea that people are different and that's okay. I remember getting there and I was like, I'm not being looked at as trans. I'm just being looked at as who is this 6 foot black girl? That's what made me stand out. It wasn't my identity. And I think that's something amazing to share that experience of just immersing yourself into a culture that's not your own and to embrace it into truly honor and respect the time that's been given to you.
Yes, absolutely. That is beautiful. I love that you could just go out there and be yourself and have a good time.
Mhm.
Take that crown and just be yourself and live authentically yourself. That's amazing, you know?
Yeah.
It could be like that everywhere because that's the way to live. Just be yourself and be free, you know?
And always be in the present. Yesterday, tomorrow will come when it does. But for
Mhm.
now, stay in the moment.
Exactly, exactly. Now let's get to some more tea. Now, when was looking at the videos and everything, I saw that Miss Olivia Lauren, she did issue an apology. And when I read it, I was like, okay, but I want to know when you seen her apology from Olivia Lauren, how did it make you feel? Yeah. Yes, yes. I want to know exactly how do you feel when you saw Olivia Lauren's apology to you or what happened on that stage.
The funny thing is, I'm grateful that in this experience with everything that Miss Olivia said, I wasn't alone. And, fortunately for me and within her story, she pulled me and Miss Vietnam, Miss Hatam New, into the situation and said, it was the both of us against her oneself. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but Miss Vietnam has the most social media engagement out of, we're going on 20 years of this pageant. Within 20 years, Miss Vietnam, Miss Hatam New, has the biggest following of any contestant to ever compete in this pageant in the world. And the way her fan base was like, "Girl, this ain't hot on you. She would never." And they when I tell you, girl, the Vietnamese girlies were not playing about her. And I was fortunate to experience, the camaraderie of sharing that moment with my sister and, both of our fan bases being, girl, no, that's not. And I think that to me truly helped process everything. And, it was something that we want to, as trans women, promote ourselves in the highest light that we can. Within the world right now, there's so many legislations being targeted against trans women. There are so many factors in the world where, Trump and his legislation want to push trans women in the foresight. And it's like nobody was thinking about the girls 20 years ago. Nobody was thinking about what the girls were doing, what bathroom the girls were in. The girls just existed. And so for us to be in this pageant with all this controversy, I think the smartest thing that we could do was to just remain positive and just focus on the now. We didn't have the time to sit here and reflect, to uh, confirm or deny allegations, or to, you know, do anything other than, girl, we have press in the morning. The moment I won, I had to be on camera at 6 a.m. The day after that, I had to go on camera at 5 a.m. The day after that, we went on a press tour for 2 whole weeks in Thailand, where I was fortunate to know that I had the longest press run out of any other winner in the pageant's history. So we never had the time to rest. Every day it was me and my sister, Miss Vietnam, getting up to go, girl, in our high heels, lashes on, tiptoeing in our heels, going to this interview, that interview, this interview. So all we had the time to do was to promote trans excellence from across the world. This is what it looks like for Miss Vietnam. This is what it looks like for Miss USA, for us to be here together to represent trans women on such a large global scale. That to us was important. That is what the world needed to see. Yes, we could have this kumbaya moment to reflect on this apology and take the time to honor what she said. But the reality was, we have stuff to do. And I don't think that it was either of our concerns to confirm, deny, or process what she said. And I think when it comes to it, especially in business, you're going to want to do what you can to remain in a positive light. And I feel like her remark was a little bit of, just a way to control a narrative. And I'm
Thank
proud of
you.
her for finding a way to turn it around in her good. At the end of the day, even now, I have no hard feelings.
Good.
And I think that if I competed for a pageant twice against the same person, I probably would have felt the way too.
Right.
No, I mean, but you're human. I mean, is that not a human reaction? So I cannot judge her for what she experienced. That is her experience. All I know is with me and my experience, I'm just grateful that throughout everything, there's always a silver lining. And one thing that remains important to me is if it's time for you, it's time for you. If it's not time for you, your time is coming. Don't doubt it. Be patient, be ready. And if you're willing to accept it, don't rush it. Because when I even got the opportunity to be a part of the legacy that's Miss International Queen in the first place, I said no. I said no, I won't do it. I said no,
I remember you told me that. I remember that from one
right?
interview. Yes.
So I just competed for Miss Washington USA, one of the first trans women to ever compete. And I said, that's enough for me. I did my big one. I opened up the door for the girls. I think that's great. But the way that destiny works, no matter what you do, I like to say every possibility of every action that you do is lining you up for your greatest good. So don't ever feel in life as if you missed your moment or you missed your time. You will never miss your time in this life. If you truly believe in yourself that this is what is meant for you, every possibility of every action will lead up to your ultimate good. And to me, that is exactly what I experienced. So I'm just grateful to be here to speak to you.
Absolutely, you are totally right. I agree with that. The universe is never wrong. So your time, when the time is right, everything will be. And it's always like that. Just keep a positive mindset, keep loving your heart, and keep your head up, and you're gonna be good. Absolutely.
Well, I feel like we just preached.
I feel like we really did. I feel like we really did. Yes, for sure. I think we really did.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Now, the Miss International Queen competition is an all trans pageant. What kind of sisterhood or support system develops among the contestants? And can you tell us about a little bit more of your friendship with the runner up?
Yeah. So first of all, on the first day, while I was like getting to learn who everyone was, me and Miss Malaysia, we need to talk about my sister for a second. Miss Cleo, I loved Malaysia the moment I met her because I found out she's in the Kiki ballroom scene just like me. So I was like, oh, we have the ballroom girls are here. The ballroom girls are in the building. The Femme Queens have reunited. So immediately, that was my girl. We were like this on day one. And I feel like I just took those branches of friendships, finding what we all had in common. Again, the pageant is very long. It's 2 whole weeks. I think we were there from the 6th until the 20th. And some girls arrived early. Like I arrived on the 2nd, from the 2nd to the 20th. And literally for me, upon arrival, I immediately had to do stuff. They're like, hey, we have a sponsor for you. They want you to come do this video. Let's go here. So the moment I landed, I was doing work. So again, this pageant is very long. So within that time, the girls are gonna find who they click with. Like for me, in my experience, I got to see like how the Latin girls would connect with the Latin girls, the Asian girls would connect with the Asian girls. Fortunate to me, I being a mixed individual, I was kicking with the Asian girls. I was in girl, me and Miss Thailand, Miss Hatem New, Miss Vietnam. We were all a clique, like we were all together. It's actually so funny when you watch that clip of me winning, the crowds go separate ways. You can even watch Miss Thailand get ready to go up to me. And she was like, oh no, let me console Miss Hatem Yu because I think this meant a lot to Miss Vietnam as well. Again, like I think sometimes I can, like in my final question, I was asked, what was your biggest failure? And, I had to be vulnerable to share with the world and let them know that, like, to me, it's being hard on myself. I judge myself really hardly. So sometimes when I do anything, even within winning this crown, I've had moments where I've forgotten, like, how much of a big deal this was. And to share that experience with my sisters and seeing how it affected all of us, for 2 whole weeks, it really meant the world to us to find that camaraderie of sisterhood. There's more than just the experience of being trans. I feel like we're just scraping the top layer of our existence as human beings. There's so much substance underneath the iceberg of who we are. And I think within those 2 weeks, it was exploring the intersectionality of what we all had in common, whether that was makeup, whether that was music, singing, art, performing. And it was a lovely opportunity to see how we all connected, what all we were enthralled to, what our mutual interests were. And I think to me, it was just a really big opportunity to experience that life, to experience that freedom and see what it's like on the other side of the world. And I'm really fortunate and blessed to have the opportunity. The crazy thing, I spent Mugler Ballroom weekend in New York, and I got the opportunity to see my sister,
Right.
Miss Stock,
Yes.
who was one of the first Black top three finalists in this pageant. And I was like, I don't think I've ever asked you, like, what was your experience? And
Hmm.
we're that, like, when the girls start finding their clique, as the Black girl of the pageant, she felt like she didn't have that opportunity. And I'm really fortunate and blessed that that wasn't my experience. I did connect with as many as I could. I never felt like I was just the black girl. And yes, I was the only black girl. I had some connections, with the Asian girls. I connected with girls that were different from me, and we found a way to, break the- regardless of our background, to just show that, we're here, we're human, we're all here for the purpose of gender equality
Uh-huh.
across the world and what that means to us.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you was able to find that connection and have that sisterhood because it's so important. It's so important, especially if you go
Hmm.
overseas, not your home state or country, that's a lot.
Right?
That's a lot. Um,
It's a lot.
it is a lot, yes. I wanted to ask you, I know like you had said you was the only black girl there, you know? Did you experience any racism while you was over there?
No.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm really happy about. I've never expressed this, I've never shared this, but I was told, so it is an inside scoop for you. I was told that my formers had experienced a lot of bullying. Like Melanie Monroe experienced a lot of bullying, like all of the girls. I can really name all the finalists that have ever placed in Miss International Queen. Um, my auntie Chantel DeMarco, of course, my mother Giselle Barbie Royale, Stasha Sanchez, they all experienced race-based hate via social media. They all experienced, a lot of negativity for, their body shape, how they express themselves, just anything that the international fan base can pick apart. Um, and I don't know what in my energy kind of deterred that from being my experience, but I never experienced any of that. Like, li- think just the attitude that I gave myself with. Upon arrival, majority of the time, the time already was pronouncing me the winner. I- Upon arrival, you know, there's this thing that we would see every day, 2 weeks long. There's 2 weeks of this. Every day we would wake up, we'd get on the bus, get ready to go to our location, we check our phones, and we're getting tagged in prediction lists. And I might not have been everybody's first place pick, but I was always in the top of those prediction lists. So that was just a sign to me that fans from across the world believed in me. They saw what I believed in myself. They saw what I thought of myself and they believed it. And I think that that also did have a role to play in helping me to truly step into my authenticity, to step into me and not watering my down for as the black girl or odd one
Mhm.
out. You're gonna want to assimilate. You're gonna want to find how you can, go through as easy as possible. And to me, I said, that's not going to be my experience. I'm going to go there. I'm going to laugh my ugly laugh. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to hoot. I'm going to holler. I'm going to eat all the food that I can. I'm going to drink Thai tea every day.
Okay.
And, and doing that, it opened the door for me to show the world what is authenticity, what does it mean to express yourself on the public, to
Mhm.
be a fight the world may or may not. And to me, that really cool. If I can change anything about the system of pageantry in the world, not just queer pageantry, I want young women or men or whatever you identify as, if you're going into these systems, yes, you have to know what does the system want? What does the system look for in a winner? Have that, right? Okay, that's what you aspire to. That's how you should show up in your best light. But also, be yourself. There's only one you in the world. There's no reason to act or put on a front to be a certain kind of way. Yes, especially for us as Black people, we know how to code switch. When you step in a professional office, you put on a professional voice. But at the same time, for me, it was like, I can do that, but like, also, why do I need to? I am the representative for an entire country of people. I am the representative for trans women in United all across.
Right.
Yes, of course, a way to be professional and to hack yourself, but also just what makes you you
Right.
and be the best. So No, it's okay. Well, it's okay to be awkward. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be, you know, a little on the spectrum if that's what you are. Just embrace that because there's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to be embarrassed about being different. I think within being different and within finding what made me different from the rest of the girls, it made me shine more. There was never a moment of me trying to hide myself. I said, I'm showing the world who I am and all my authenticity, and that to me mattered the most. And that spoke, that spoke to the audiences everywhere to understand that I'm not here to please everyone as the pageant girl. I'm not just the pageant girl. I'm a girl from the ballroom scene. Girl, I'm
Mhm.
I'm a girl from I'm the girl next door. Uh,
Yes,
I go over to my local Safeway across the street or order just like anybody else.
right.
There's no need to fake the funk
Don't
of
fake
being
it.
a
Just be you.
boy. I was like, girl, we're here to kid. What's up?
Yeah, what's
What?
up? What's poppin'? What is poppin'? I love that, and that's what I love about you. Like you just keep it real in yourself, and like you have everyone's around the world support, and that's why we love you because you are you, and
Oh,
you are doing you are you, and not showing up as no one else, not being fake, you being yourself, and that's what we love. Yes,
thank you.
you're welcome, sister. Now I want to take it back from the moment when they said your name and they gave you the crown when you were crowned Miss International Queen 2025, you said that you were living out your ancestors' wildest dreams. What did that moment mean for you personally, and for the communities you represent?
I'm actually really glad that you asked the question. This is not a question. I can really what that means to me. I remember seeing, there was some conversations about that, like, oh, so her ancestors were betrayed. No, I never said that. What it to live ancestors' wildest dreams, whether I'm a trans woman or not. I am a person who expresses themselves to the fullest capacity of what it means to be a human being. I have taken the time to understand who I am. I've taken the time to understand how I show up in the world. And I take advantage of the spaces that I'm in. I was always told from a young age if you're in a room, take up that space. Don't be ashamed to be in a room. If you step in that room, you own your space in that room and you be there. And I think to me, coming from a ancestry, I'm a Solanian woman. I'm one of the ancestors of, child American slavery. My ancestors were enslaved people. And to show up today, being a free person, using my voice, speaking unapologetically, and being who I am, that is a right that I feel like my ancestors have always wanted. Would that not be the shared reality that every African American would face in this world? To be themselves freely, to not live with any regrets or feeling as if I'm holding myself down or I'm watering myself down or I'm being less than what I can be. I showed up every day in that pageant to be the best version of myself that I can be because that's all I can control. I can't control what the next girl does. I can't control what the world wants from me. All I can do is be the best version of myself to show up. I know I'm happy, I'm taken care of, I'm loved. I laugh, I can joke freely. And to me, that is what means the most to me. That's what my ancestors would have wanted. That's what my ancestors would have needed. So when I say I'm living my ancestors' wildest dreams, it has nothing to do with my trans identity. Identity is just scratching the surface of what makes me who I am. To be free, loud, loved, and whole is a vision that I think everyone's ancestors would want for their next generation. And I live that truth. That is my truth. And to me, that's what it means to be my ancestors' wildest dream. So thank you for asking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's about leaving that legacy. And your legacy is gonna be amazing. So I wanna ask, as a third American and Black trans woman to win the title, how do you plan on moving forward with that legacy moving forward?
I wanted to first and foremost let all my Black people know You could do anything. Don't let anyone put you in a box. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you have to be one thing or another. There is one truth that I will let the girls know. For us women of color, it will be harder for you. And that is just a reality that we have. And I want to let the world know that no matter how hard it might be for me, I still showed up and I put my best foot forward. I still showed up through the tears, through the hurt, through the pain, through anything that I was dealing with in my personal life. I still showed up to be the best version of myself. So I want all my girls across the world to know that you can do it. You can make it. You can be it. You can be the it girl that you want to be. Don't let life's expectations, your family's expectations, don't even let your expectations of yourself deter you from your greatest good. Don't let it deter you from your destiny. There's nothing in this world that is unobtainable for you. If you feel like you can go and do the thing, then do the thing. Don't let anyone stop you. Do the thing.
Do it. Yes, beautiful, sister. Beautiful. That's right. Believe in yourself. For your wildest dreams, go for it and do it. And don't ever doubt yourself. Just keep your head up and do it. And you got it. Put God with you, some promotion behind it, you're gonna be good to go. For real, for real.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. When I had to watch you during the whole pageant, you was slaying the game with your fashion and your hairstyles. I was like, okay, she is doing her thing. And your mother is a fashion designer, and you yourself design parts of your pageant looks. How important has fashion and creative design been in your self expression and activism?
To me, I fashion world of self-expression. It is a way that, I feel like a look can say 1,000 words without saying it all. The way that I will look at a person, I can say a whole sentence to you. Girl, if I go, well, I see, we're already talking. That's communication. That is talking with just our faces. But to me, to take fashion, it's taking that same experience that we just shared and amplifying it on another level. So when I enter the room, my look speaks for me without me saying a word. It's a way to display that confidence. It's a way to explain who you are, what makes you you. It's another realm of expression that intersects with identity. It intersects with your passions, what you love, what you do. For me, it was a way to showcase, specifically in Thailand, I used that experience of fashion to showcase Black excellence. Like, within my talent, I said, I want to showcase majorette dancers. That is authentically Black American culture. We all know our J sets, we know the girls. And I think that when I designed my outfit, I said, I want to showcase Black culture in everything that I do. I said, I'm going to show up on talent night in a big afro. I want to make Diana Ross feel it. I want to have that hair that's just, it speaks. And that afro is such a symbol of power, and it's a symbol of Black excellence that I chose every decision that I made. And not only me, I was blessed to have my styling be Miss Chantel DeMarco, the iconic Miss Continental. My auntie, she helped me to also curate that package. So everything that I did, I would have an idea, she would have an idea, we'd come together and we would like work together on how we can display Afrofuturism in a pageantry system that does not reflect Black women. It is a system that does not have women like us, girls like us. And it was a very important decision for us to show up and showcase that. I'm one of the only contestants to ever show up wearing locks. I went there with locks, box braids. I wanted to show the world Black culture, and that meant the world to me to showcase where I'm from because I feel like when it comes to culture, as Americans, we don't have a history of culture. The thing that makes America great is being a country of diverse individuals, diverse nationalities, ethnics, and groups. We're a melting pot. So that's what makes it special. But when you go to Asia, you talk about culture, you got culture up the woo-ha. You see culture and there's how they speak and how, they dress. It shows culture. So I said, how can I have that same level of experience? And it's by showcasing Black culture. It's by showcasing what the world takes from, pulls inspiration from without giving us our credit. I want to give that credit back to us Black Americans, to show that we have culture. We are people of excellence. And I think that was very important to me. And just to show that freedom of expression within fashion, to show who you are, what makes you special, what makes you unique, that to me mattered so much. And I'm so blessed.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And you looked so beautiful and you killed it out there. And I love how you brought that Black culture to the stage. So, you had all of our, so, we would turn up, especially the J set, everybody knows the J set now. You know what's popping. You ain't no tea on that,
Girl,
okay?
I have always wanted to be a J-set dancer my
Yeah.
whole that's how I knew I was trans. I knew I was trans a long
Uh-huh.
time ago, but I saw those girls in the HBCUs and I said, "How do I get there? I wanna do
Exactly.
that." So I got to live my fantasy in Thailand and showcase just a snippet of that, and that was such an
Yes.
honor.
You killed it. I'm so happy for you, sister. Yes.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome, you're welcome. I know earlier we talked about the busy schedule within being in a pageant. Pageants are beautiful and glamorous, but they can also come with expectations, pressure, and sometimes scrutiny. Can you share a behind the scenes truth about preparing for a global pageant that people may not often hear?
Uh, I think something that's really important is being able to be grateful and to uh be mindful of the space that you take up and be mindful of those that support you. Be mindful of the ones that will help you. Because if it was just me, myself, and I don't know if I could have achieved the same level of excellence that I brought to Thailand. I was blessed and honored to have an amazing support team, to have an amazing system, the system of Miss International Queen USA, Todd Bravo, to have all of my amazing sponsors and everyone that helped believe in me and financially supported the dream of Miss International Queen USA. I think that to me is something that is really important. It costs a lot of money to do pageantry. Pageantry is not cheap. Some of my gowns were up in the 3,000s and higher. There's a lot of things that you have to do to make sure that you're preparing for it. And it's a huge responsibility to go there and not only showcase yourself, you're showcasing your country, you're showcasing all of the women before you. And I think it's really important to just be mindful of the little people, be mindful of the people that got you to be where you are. There is no such thing as me reaching this title and doing it all on my own. I did not do this all on my own. I had supporters. I had people that pushed me up, that lifted me to be the best that I can be. And I would not be where I am today without that. So you just as much as this is a monumental win for me, this is a monumental win for everyone that has supported me every step along my journey. And I want to say this now. I'm just so grateful and so honored and so blessed to have that support from everyone. And thank you all because I wouldn't be Miss International Queen, Miss Midori Monet without all that support. So I'm saying now again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think I want to be mindful of everyone that has believed in you and always be grateful for every opportunity that life gives you.
Yes, absolutely. It's you need to always be thankful for your blessings, and be thankful for the
Mm,
people that support you. Don't take nothing for granted. So
right,
I love that you have that support and what's in your heart and it's done right. You know what I mean? And when it's for you, it's
right.
for you. And like I said, you killed it, you did everything gracefully, and you took home the crown. So you already know what's tea, okay? Period. Okay, yes, so you already know what's tea. Yes. Sister, I want to ask you, what's one stereotype about trans women or about pageant contestants that you absolutely want to dismantle? And how do you plan to dismantle it using your platform?
Uh, I think the number one thing is showing up to be a version of yourself that makes you successful. I really hate this ideal that you have to be one way. I think that when you think of pageantry, you think of grabbing a glass, pinkies up, and you being poised and polished and pomp and circumstance and all of the things. And I want the girls to know that that's not necessary to be successful. You don't have to do that, and you don't have to brown your nose up to the top. You can just be yourself. You don't have to kiss anyone's feet or do all of these different things that can push you somewhere. What's going to push you somewhere is knowing who you are, taking that time to understand what makes you a unique individual, what makes you tick, what makes you successful, what makes you shine, what makes you polish. Find that first, and when you find that, when you understand that, your body will know how to present that. And I think that there is a lot of expectations of being one way. To be a pageant girl, you have to be one way. And I want the world to know that I was not one way. Again, I am a girl that comes from the ballroom scene where we don't have those same opportunities and luxuries as everyone else. I don't come from the silver spoon background. A lot of my life, I've had to work very hard for everything that I have. And that shows up in every aspect of how I present and how I showcase myself. So I want the girls to know, just be yourself. Being yourself is more than enough. Everyone else is already taken. You cannot be everyone else because everyone else is already taken. Just be you. What does being you mean? Figure that out, find it, and step into your truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stepping your truth is important. Like we always say, just be yourself and you're going to be good.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I want to switch roles a little bit. I want to get into the behind the scenes of the pageant world. So I want to ask you, can you walk us through the application process of entering a pageant?
So I have a very interesting perspective. So when it comes to Miss International Queen representing the country of USA, I'm actually the first ever preliminary winner. So there's USA has never had a pageant before. Usually if you go to be Miss International Queen USA, you will submit an application, you'll do a video interview, and you'll plead your case on why you think you should represent the nation. For me, I didn't have that. And honestly, there was an application process to be a part of Miss International Queen USA, but that was not my experience. I was asked to be there. And that's something that is extremely rare. And it just goes to show that like when you're ready for life's blessings will come to you. Even if you tell it no, it will still happen. Because again, I told them no so many times and here I am. I'm still here. I showed up and I won. So you never know what kind of opportunities life can have for you. You never know what you're saying no to. So always be grateful for those opportunities because they can really change the world for you. And for me, it is a crazy experience of, not only never having searched for the pageant to audition for the pageant found me. And I'm really grateful and really blessed to have that experience, to have the amazing recruiter, Miss Kimmy Kim from Miss International Queen USA, the one who found me and was just like, you need to do this. I said, no, I don't want to do it. She said, do it, girl, please.
Yes, yes.
Oh, and here we are.
I love that. I love that you have that support. And like you said, it's the universe. So when it's meant to be, you can't run and hide because it's gonna come right back and grab you and get you. Okay?
Very
Absolutely. Let's get into like the categories. What are the main categories contestants compete in and how are they often judged?
so this year was a little different. This year, the entire judges panel were former winners. And not only was it the former winners, it was the um sponsors of the pageant also who judged. And you're judged on obviously how you present yourself. How do you speak? Can you speak eloquently? Can you speak extemporaneously? Can you say your point without stuttering? No ums, no pauses, no buts. And just speak what's on your heart and on your mind freely. Not only is there that speaking portion that means the most, but that speaking portion ties into question and answer, which is like the groundbreaking moment of this pageant. So, how it goes, usually within queer pageants or systems of like, gay pageantries, like Miss Continental, you'll do swimsuit. Whoever's the highest in swimsuit, you keep that score, you move on. Then you go to evening gown, or I don't know how they do it. But you go on to talent and all these things. And the best score of each one will tally up to see who has the greatest score. Miss International Queen is not like that. When we compete, so we'll do swimsuit. Whoever has the highest points in swimsuit will move on to the next part. Whoever moves forward into the next portion, the score resets back to 0. So everything that you do or that you have done does not necessarily, you know, like when you watch Drag Race, you would think
Hmm.
that like when my it's not the same. My pageant is whoever's the best in each category moves forward. And every time you move forward, the score resets to 0. So when it came down to it, we did swimsuit, going from the best of swimsuit to evening gown, from evening gown to question and answer. And the way that I won this pageant when it was the top three, when it was me, Cuba, and Vietnam, um, we all had zeros for our score. And how each one of us answered that question determined who was going to win that pageant. So you have to make sure that within every category, you're just giving it your best. You're being as you can be and strive for the goal.
Wow. Thanks for giving us that tea because I never knew that. So thank you for breaking that down for us, for real. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, do you have any specific tips on for contestants who want to stand out or increase their chances of winning?
I honestly think the best thing we can do within these systems is to first, you have to figure out who you are. And I think that's something that's really important because, in this world, in this life, identity is such an ever developing and changing part of the human experience. You can change your identity in many different of ways. And I know to some people that can mean gender, but to me, it never means gender. To change your identities, girl, I love chicken soup. That's my identity. And tomorrow I might not like chicken soup. I might want some tacos. That could be my identity for the day, And I think to be so in tune with yourself to know what makes you you, what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, what are your strengths, and most importantly, what are your weaknesses. To know each and every one of those aspects of your individuality to understand who you are, that is what takes you the furthest. It's not about just how you show up, it's about knowing how you show up and excelling in showcasing you to the best that you can. I'm not showing up to be Miss International Queen. I'm showing up to show the world what does Midori Monet mean? What does it mean to be me? What is the best quality of myself and how can I highlight that to the world?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that it's so important to know your strengths and your weaknesses, especially entering the competition? So, how important is coaching and what areas should contestants focus on the most? Walk, wardrobe, interview skills, or stage presence?
Stage presence. I'm a full-time entertainer, so I come from the stage. I know what it's like to enthrall an audience. That's what I do for money. That's how I make my living. I think it's important to just have confidence. I could show up to that pageant and plastic trash bags, and my stage presence wouldn't have changed. The way that I showcase myself to the world would not have changed despite what I'm wearing, despite what my voice sounds like. I could have a, super high feminine voice, or I could just know what my voice sounds like now and honor who I am in my totality. And I think that is the most important thing that you can do is just finding what makes you you and being good at that.
Absolutely. And I also want to ask you, sister, after winning, what kind of responsibilities or obligations come with the title?
I think obviously the biggest one is being unafraid to be who you are. Yes, in this time right now in USA, there are so many policies and politics against trans women where you would fear that the best thing to do as a trans person is to be quiet and to, stay out of the limelight and to stay out of the opinions of public affairs. But to me, I think it means the exact opposite. I mean, I think that this is the time more than ever to use your voice to stand up for what matters. They expect us to take it and just lie down. Just this is this, this is this, this is how you need to be, and that's it. And this is the time to say, no, actually, wait a minute. That's not right. This is not how it should work. And this is the time to be unafraid to use your voice. So I really would like to let the whole world know that it's important to use your voice always. Your voice will always matter. How you show up in the world, how you want people to view you only depends on what you give back.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love how you always keep it positive, always. And I want to go back to a question that we talked about earlier about funding and being in a pageant because pageants can be expensive. How do contestants simply fund their journey?
I think a lot of times with sponsorship and, maybe even grants or opportunities, I think the best thing that you can do, sometimes it's not about what you do, sometimes it's about the rooms that you're in. It's the conversations that you have, it's the people that you know. So always step into the world with that sense of positivity to connect with others because you never know who that connection might be that can help lead you to where you want to be in this life.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, we both know as trans women, it's a crazy place right now for us in the world, you know? So
Hmm.
let's get a little personal and a little transparent with each other. Can you share the time when it was like when you first, when we go back to this question, can you share what it was like the first time you felt truly comfortable using the restroom that aligns with your gender identity?
What a wonderful question. I think that when it comes to the identity of being a transgender, for me, I identify as a transsexual. To be a transgender just means that you don't identify with the gender that you were born as, with the sex that you were born as. If you're born male, you identify as male, it makes you cisgender. To be transgender is to be anything other than that. That's where non-binary entities enter the conversation. And to me, I like to be specific. I'm a transsexual. I have done work and I have made the changes. I have um, done everything that I can to be in this world as my authentic self and to showcase to the world what my trans identity is. And I think that, no matter how polished or how passable any girl is, we all start from something. We all start from somewhere. And I think that what's really important is knowing how you show up in the world, knowing how you're perceived. And I think that, yes, in a sense, you can go through life not caring about what others think about you, which is important. But I do think, for like a message for my younger trans girls around the world, I do think it's important to showcase yourself in the best that you can. I think that being trans means more than just a pair of earrings, a lash, and a wig. It's more than just saying I identify as this. It really means, how are you showing up in the world? How are you showcasing yourself to the best that you can? And to me, there was a definitely a length of my transition where I knew that I was a woman, but I would not be in the women's restroom because I knew that my transition was not at a place where I wanted it to be at. So you have to be mindful. You have to be respectful of the spaces that you take up. And I think it's really important to understand that. And when you're ready, you'll know. I remember there's a time I went to the men's restroom and they're looking at me like, ma'am, the bathroom is that way for you. And when that happened, I said,
Right. Like what? I'm gone.
and it's a graduation
It
process. I think
is.
it's more, I'm trans, I'm gonna go this way. Like, no, take your time. You gotta cook. You
Uh-huh.
can't just bring ingredients, throw them in the pot, and say soup's ready. The
Right.
soup is not ready. The soup needs to cook.
It
Let it
has
cook.
to.
Take your time, marinate, and find what that means to you. When it's ready, you'll
Right.
know.
Exactly. I remember my first time stepping into the women's bathroom when I'm in my transition. I was like so nervous, like, I hope no one like, try to out me or clock me or anything like that. So, it definitely is a process and you feel comfortable in yourself to, go where you are aligned. I want to ask you a question, sister. Have you ever been clocked in your life? Have you ever been clocked? Have you, have you ever been clocked?
You know, I love saying this.
Yeah.
I joke with my girlfriends all the time. I always say, "Girl, take the clock.
Okay.
Okay, clock." And what does it mean to take the clock? You know, to me that it means that in this life, no matter how pretty you are, no matter how polished you are, there will always be someone that's gonna clock, mama. TikTok time's always on the clock. So you might pass to the rest of the world, but there's always gonna be that one person that's speak.
It's always that one person. But it's cool. We still out here living our lives and looking beautiful, you know. But
Yeah, but
it's
you gotta just clock it, and that just means to just, no matter what, no matter how pretty I am, no matter how I show up in the world, I will always be a trans woman, and I'm knowledgeable of that, and I love that about myself. I love that I am trans.
yeah.
I love to have that experience, and no matter what, that's not gonna deter me from showing up to be the best that I can be. So
Mhm.
if I'm clock, take the clock, girl. You just
Yeah,
gotta
it's
take the
just
clock, and girl, you're trans. It is what it is. Let's move on.
let
What are we gonna go
we're
eat?
we're going exactly, exactly. Now, sister, we gotta get into some tea, okay? I gotta get your
Mhm.
thoughts and your opinion on this. What are your thoughts on the debate sparked by T.S. Madison regarding the Gold's Gym's transgender locker room situation, specifically the issue of passing privilege and being a brick in such spaces?
Woo! Um, well, I think that, like, just like I said earlier, you gotta take the time to cook. I think that in this world, and especially with us being trans, there is a lot of realm of, where we want to be accepted. We should be accepted, but let's be honest, as a society in America, we're not there yet. And I think it's okay to acknowledge where we're at. And I do think it's okay to try and push the envelope every now and then, but there's a limit. Okay? You can't just bears can't go into the beehive and snatch the honey out. You gotta go up in the beehive. You gotta be smooth with it. You gotta take your time. You gotta you gotta get to the honey, get to the nectar, and pull it out slowly. You can't just force yourself into any room, into any place, and expect the world to respect you. You need to take your time and honor where you're going. And I think that I wish it could just be as simple of, oh, this is just, we're just going to the bathroom, it's just the bathroom. Yes, it is that simple. But for some people, not everyone has that privilege. Not everyone has that access to safe transitioning. And I think that it's okay to honor that and to understand that. But at the same time, we should all strive to make everyone feel at least a little comfortable. Yes, there are times in life where I'm not going to worry about how I make other people feel, but like, as long as I'm expressing myself to the best that I can. But like when it comes to the situation specifically with like being trans and bathrooms, I do think that girl, take time to cook. It's okay. It doesn't make you any less trans. I can know that I'm a trans woman and go put on my man's pants, shirt, hat, tennis shoes, sneakers. That doesn't make me any more masculine than I feel in my heart. If I know that I'm trans, if I know that I'm a woman, then it shouldn't matter if I go into the spaces that I enter, but I think what matters is how do you show up? How is that reflecting? If what you see matches what you feel, then truly go there. But I think if you know that you need to take that time, take the time, mama. Take the cook. Take the time to cook. You'll get there. We all come from somewhere. I feel like I don't know if I was ever quite a brick. I felt definitely a Lego piece. I was definitely a plastic piece of Lego for sure. But that Lego over time softened up.
Okay.
Yeah. Out when I
Yes.
softened up, expressed myself differently in the world. I took those opportunities. But you have to be you have to be, I want to be in a world where we're all accepted for who we are, but sometimes that's just not our reality. And unfortunately, I do think that there's just a piece of understanding that, understanding how you show up, understanding the space that you take up, and just be mindful. I think that's the only message I could give to the girls. Just be mindful, girl. Be mindful.
Exactly, exactly. I totally agree. Just take your time to cook and Just take your time with it, cause I know, like you said, I probably was a Lego too. I don't know about a brick, but I know I probably was a
Of
Lego, but it's
course.
opened up, but everybody's transition is different on their own journey, you know? But yeah, just
Mhm.
take your time to cook. Now, sister, you've been slaying the game. You've been building your resume. And I also have to say, congratulations on your new book, Mirror Mirror, a self love workbook for trans women. What inspired you to write
Thank
it?
you.
And what do you hope for readers to take away?
Funny enough, in high school, my favorite subject was English and it was writing. And I find that as an individual, I like to think of myself as being well spoken, but the way that I speak is a little different from the way that I write, where when I write or when I speak, I say my point and that's done. But when I write, I like to really elaborate. I like to really explain. So the way that Mirror Mirror, my first book, where it comes from, Miss International Queen USA, my organization would ask me questions and they would want me to explain myself to my audience, like what I am, where I come from, what being me means to me. And I think they were expecting like little short paragraphs, little sections, little sentences. And my paragraphs were novels. Um, if you go to the Miss International Queen website, you can actually find every entry of my series called Crown to Crown. It was a digital magazine that we started out where I would just write about myself, my life, my experiences. And we ended up taking this digital magazine of Crown to Crown, where I talk about the crown of Miss USA to the crown of Thailand, the Miss Universe crown. I talk about that experience, what that means to me. And we took all of these different inserts and different parts of my experience and my story and we said, wouldn't it be crazy if we took all of that and compressed it into one? And that's where we got the idea for Mirror Mirror. And it became a love project of being able to show the world not only who I am, but to use my experience and my story to help other trans women across the world understand what it's like to know who you are, to know what it means to be you, to know what your trans identity, how you identify and yes, Mirror Mirror, even on the book, it says this is a book for trans women. If I'm being so honest and transparent, I think this is a book for anyone discovering who you are. This is a book that's about standing in your truth, your authenticity, and finding out where does your confidence come from? What does it mean to truly be confident? And that's really where that project came from to showcase to women, no matter where you're at in the journey, even the girls in the pot still cooking is just ingredients. The book is for you too. It's not just for the girls that look one way. It's for anyone to understand what does it mean to take the time to understand what it means to be you. The whole pun of mirror exactly what you see when you look into the mirror. What do you see? Do you see you? Do you see yesterday? Do you see your failures of your past self? Do you see the bright future of what's to come? What does your reflection in the mirror mean? And I think that to me was important in this project to elaborate on my identity, on my experiences, how I got to be where I'm at here today speaking with you. I wanted to share with my audience, and that's where Mirror Mirror comes from.
I love that. That is beautiful. And it's so important. Self love is everything. Having that confidence and finding that inner peace and that self love, that's everything. I wanted to ask you, where can we purchase your book?
So my book actually ready and available, not for purchase. I wanted to ensure that anyone who wanted access to truly understand where I came from could have this opportunity for no cost. So I actually sent out copies of my books all across the nations to local shelters and to trans-led organizations, to LGBT organizations across the nation so that way there's access to this information that I think is very pivotal for people to understand and to know. So if you want access to it, you have to go to the Miss International Queen webpage and you'll find a tab to get a copy of Mirror Mirror. So if you want it, come get it, because who knows how long the opportunity will be open. And I might be points after, but for now, I want to have the opportunity to experience that.
Yes, I love that. I'm gonna go online and get one. So, gays, y'all better go and grab
Yeah.
your copy, okay?
Sister, I'm gonna send you a copy. Don't
Please
even
send
worry
me,
about
please send me. And when I'm thinking about it, it sounds like a movie may be coming in the future, a biopic.
it.
Okay?
I think so.
Okay,
Let's
I think
get
so
it
too,
to
sister. I think so too. Yes. Finally, sister, if you had a billboard in the middle of Times Square that every person on the planet would see for one day, what would it say?
I think it should say, "Be you. Everyone else is already taken."
I love that. I love that. Classy, straight to the point. I love that. And I see it happening. I see it happening.
Well,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see it happening. Yes. Miss Midori Monét, I want to thank you so much for your time and being with me here today at Gay Magazine for Transgender Awareness Week. But before we sign out, I want to ask you, is there anything else that we should tune in for coming up in the future?
Yes, stay tuned to my social media. If you aren't already, go follow me on all platforms. I'm actually getting ready to start releasing long form content on YouTube. I've been so like nervous about going to YouTube. But I think that's where my journey will be. Like showing the world behind the scenes. I took so much content that I cannot just share on Instagram. So be sure to follow me on Instagram, on YouTube at Midori Monet. That's MIDORIMONET. And who knows, maybe I'll be coming to a city near you to come twirl because I just want to joy, influence everywhere that I go, everything that I go. I hope that you'll continue soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. We love it. What an amazing conversation with the beautiful and inspiring Midori Monet. Thank you so much, Midori, for sharing your passion, your journey with us, and your light today with us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me, sister. It's always such an honor to be here to speak with you
Thank you.
and the community. I would not be here without all of your love and support. So
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you so much. And everyone, this whole week we are celebrating Transgender Awareness Week with Gay Magazine. Remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. Stay connected, stay inspired, and keep showing up for one another. For more stories and exclusive interviews, visit our website, gaymagazine.com. Until next time, it's your girl Nikki signing out. Love y'all. Peace.